here at Glacier Bay National Park, and I am here with some of our founders of the process. Well, actually the founder, Steve Spangler, right here. And then we have our wonderful naturalists from the area, John. And so I wanted to introduce you to them because each of them brings a perspective. We have Steve, that was an educator, and he has just an incredible story dear to my heart about the learning and trials and tribulations of teaching. And then we have somebody who has been living in Alaska for more than 35 years in this very area. So we'll just take a minute to talk to them and see what they have to say about our wonderful science at sea.
Great.
Tell me about your experience living here in Alaska.
It's certainly different than experience living in what we here call the lower 48.
Sure.
It is much more remote, much more isolated. The weather's bad, the winters are long and hard. But as you can see from the area itself where we've been traveling through for the last week, it has its charms. And if you're an outdoors minded lover of nature and in the wild world, it is probably one of the best places that you could live in North America because it has all those things in abundance. What it doesn't have is a large population.
That's a good thing.
And for some of us, that's part of the reason we live here too. But you give some things up to live here, but you get some things. Perhaps that's true of every place, but in particular, I think most Alaskans wouldn't trade this for life in a big city. They just wouldn't do it.
So that's a perspective from an Alaskan person. I would call him, even now, you could say he's a native, he's been here so long. But let's hear from Steve Spangler about why you decided to get this going for educators.
Well, I actually lived on that little piece of ice over there for about 25 years. I swam to the ship because there was free food. And so that, you know what's so great about this is to have the best teachers in the whole world here to become ambassadors. So they get to take John's story back. They get to take everything back from the Rangers. And it's their job to inspire this next generation to think differently. And it starts with us thinking differently. And so it all starts with an experience. And so standing right here, that's how it's got to start, right? Because you're going to go back forever changed because of what you saw. So really, the only difference between you and the person next to you are the books that you've read and the experiences you've had, right? And so this is one of those experiences that changes the world because of the story that we share. So that's why it's so important you're here.
You know, that is so true. And as we wrap this up, we want to thank both of you for your contributions to education. And as we're leaving this place in Glacier Bay with all the videos we put together and photos, I want you to keep this in mind. This is not just a geology heaven, it's also an ecosystem. And the ecosystem is all connected. As we were watching the eagle on the iceberg, as we were seeing the animals and the seagulls, the silt and so forth, this is a system that's interactive and it's changing. So we'll talk more about that in class, but more to come, and see you at the next stop. Bye.